Welcome back. 5 months after the curtain came down on Season 7, we go again with the 8th instalment of the ABB FIA Formula E World Championship, which begins just outside of Riyadh at the Diriyah E-Prix. I'm Jack Nichols, joined as ever by 3-time Indy 500 winner Diriyah in the commentary box here in Saudi Arabia. And there is the circuit, all set to go for the first 45-minute plus 1 lap race of the season. And this is how the grid lines up. Antonio Giovinazzi's making his debut. He starts 22nd behind Sebastian Buemi. Dan Ticktum is making his debut as well for the Neo 333 team, as is Oliver Askew in 17th place for the Andretti squad. Antonio Felix da Costa, former champion, down in 16th place behind Sergio Sette Camara. The other DS cheater of Jean-Eric Vergne is 13th, a real difficult qualifying session for them. Eduardo Mortara is 12th, and Oliver Rowland qualified inside the top 10, but was demoted thanks to a penalty. And now we move on to those starting in the top 10 for the first race of the season. And first up, it is the Porsche. Pascal Wehrlein had a strong season last year, didn't manage to take a victory. He will be hoping for better this year, but it'll be tough, starting in 10th place on the grid. In his first race for the Nissan Edams team, it's Max Günther. He moved over after being with Andretti last season, and he lines up in 9th place in car number 22. Then it is Lucas di Grassi. After 84 races with the Audi squad, he's made the move to Venturi, and he is going to be in 8th on the grid. He was the champion back in Season 3. Robin Freitz for Envision is running in 7th position, and he is just behind his teammate Nick Cassidy. Envision were in the title fight last year, slipped away right at the end, but Cassidy and Freitz will be hoping they can have a stronger season this year. And then we're into the top 5. The only man to have won a race in every Formula E season is Sam Bird. He'll be hoping to continue that run this year as he drives for the TCS Jaguar team. Then you have Andre Lotterer in the Tag Heuer Porsche. Porsche still looking for their first win in Formula E. Lotterer has finished second on 6 occasions, never on the top step. Nick de Vries is the reigning champion. He won the first race of the season last year. He's qualified 3rd for the first race of the season this year. Jake Dennis was an incredible competitor in last year's championship. He almost won it. Can he go one better this year? Stoffel van Dorn, though, is the man on pole position. The most poles of anyone last season. Didn't finish where he would have wanted to in the championship, but can he do a little better this year as we prepare to light up the track in Diriyah and get going for the first round of the ABB FIA Formula E World Championship. That's how you can get involved in Fan Boost, where the driver with the most votes, the drivers with the most votes, will get a power boost in the second half of the race. And that is Andre Lotterer's view from 4th on the grid. Dario Franchitti, Stoffel van Dorn is the man with the best view.
Yeah, he's definitely got the best view, Jack. His first corner, he can dictate exactly what he does if he gets there. Every other driver in the place, their moves are going to be dictated by those cars around him. But you have to say, cool conditions out there, but I think it's going to be red hot on the track tonight.
The cars pull away. They have to make their way around about half of the track before they get to the start line. That will be the finish line where they've just come through now under that Porsche bridge. That's the finish line and the end of each lap. It's a timed race of 45 minutes plus 1 lap, and this is the weaving downhill toboggan section. They'll obviously be going as slowly as possible because they don't want to use any energy on this formation lap, so they will be crawling around to the grid. But when the lights go out and the race gets underway, they will be pushing. There's no doubt about that.
You're absolutely right, Jack. You can make up a couple of places early in the race when everybody's close together. I think it's going to be quite an aggressive start to the season. 5 months off, some new combinations out there. Everybody's really on the edge of their seat here, and they'll be taking some slightly more risks than they would later in the season.
It's a spectacular way to start the season under the lights in Diriyah. It was the first ever Formula E night race 12 months ago. Hashtag Diriyah E-Prix if you want to get in touch over the course of the race. We've also got another race coming up tomorrow. This is a double header, so in 24 hours time we'll be doing it all over again. That was Roger Griffiths, the team principal of the Avalanche Andretti squad, who have Jake Dennis starting in 2nd place. That's Ian James. He's the boss of the Mercedes EQ team, and they are starting 1st and 3rd on the grid. They're in such a strong position.
Yeah, they really are. They obviously team's champion last year. but they've really backed it up today with that performance. So yeah, the one outlier, Jake Dennis, he wants to win. I mean, he was a rookie last year, had a phenomenal performance in the championship, but he's come back this year. He's even more hungry, and he's now got that year's experience. So look out for him. He's not going to roll over and give up anything for anybody.
This is the reigning champion Nick de Vries, third on the grid. He's the second silver Mercedes that you see, and he is going to be starting right behind his teammate Stoffel van Dorn, with Jake Dennis in the red and white Andretti there on the left-hand side. In theory, the right-hand side of the track is going to be cleaner, dirtier. The right-hand side as we look at it there, it'll be the left-hand side as we look at it from the front on. But the side Jake Dennis is on is in theory going to be a bit dirtier. But over the years here, it hasn't seemed to make too much difference.
No, it's been quite an even start. What we have seen when you see them go into the first corner of the reach, which is turn 18 on the lap, they run off into the runoff area, especially on that first lap. So expect every inch of tarmac to be used, but also a load of the runoff too in this first lap.
So you've got the silver Mercedes there on pole position. This is Eduardo Mortara, who is lining up in 12th on the grid for the Venturi team. Finished second in the first race here last year. Oliver Askew just lining up at the back there. This is Jean-Eric Vergne, the two-time champion, who is all the way down in 13th on the grid. The black and gold DS Tachitas had a very difficult time. And Antonio Giovinazzi, baptism of fire for the Italian, as he lines up at the back of the grid for his Formula E debut. Cars are in position then. We're about to go again for season 8. Giovinazzi's at the back. Reigning champion De Vries is in third position. The front row is Stoffel van Dorn on pole in the silver Mercedes. Jake Dennis alongside him. All 5 lights are on. And we go green in Diriyah. Very good start from Van Dorn, and De Vries has got away well too. They're going to go side by side. Can De Vries get up into second place? He can. Mercedes EQ, 1-2 straight away. The two Envision cars might have made contact. Lotterer is trying to force his way past Jake Dennis. The Envisions have lost ground. Van Dorn leads, De Vries is second. Dennis is down to third. Fourth is the white and black Porsche of Lotterer. Fifth is Sam Bird. He's held his position. De Grassi's got up into 6th place. The two Envisions were both inside the top 8. They're now down into 8th and 9th positions.
It looked like there was some contact further back. Mitch Evans and the two DS Tachitas as well.
Now they make their way through the right-hander of turn 4 that starts this dramatic drop down the hill. But it is Van Dorn and De Vries who've got away. Then Dennis in third. Then Lotterer, Bird, De Grassi. Right behind them is Max Günther in the Nissan. And what can Dennis do now to try and close back up? And Da Costa's in the pitch. Da Costa's in the pits, and it looks as though he's got a broken rear left by the looks of things. And Da Costa, champion of season 6, is out on the very opening lap here after a very busy turn 1.
Yeah, and it looked again, Jack, like the Jaguar of Mitch Evans was involved in that, and possibly his teammate Jean-Eric Vergne, just a bit of contact. As we see the Nissan lining up to make a move on the Venturi in front, the black Venturi. Venturi moves over to block. Lucas Di Grassi
trying to hold off Max Günther in the red and black Nissan Edams. Evans is trying to make progress as they come through the right-hander now of turn 21, which is the final corner on the circuit, this right-hander. And it's still Mercedes 1-2, Van Dorn ahead of De Vries. Then there's a little bit of a gap back to Bird, who's being chased by Lucas Di Grassi. We're riding with Di Grassi right now as he chases Sam Bird into turn 1.
And this is the driver's eye. This camera's right next to his eyeball, inside the helmet. You can see, watch his hands, especially as he goes down the hill. This is through turns 4 now, into 5. And watch this whole sequence of 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right up to turn 14, one after the other. He's just trying to get as close to the wall as he possibly can, carry as much momentum as he can, and set up for a pass in about 4 corners time in turn 18.
Down at the bottom of the hill at turn 14. Bird a little almost defensive coming into 14 there, a little narrow, but Di Grassi not close enough to do anything about it.
I think Sam Bird and Lucas Di Grassi, the only two Formula E drivers to have done every race in the series from day one. And Sam Bird is very aware that Lucas Di Grassi will take any opportunity to get past him. But again, the Nissan of Max Günther, the red and black Nissan, it looks like it's trying to set up a pass on the black Venturi of Lucas Di Grassi. But the drivers are also getting a slipstream. And if Max Günther can sit behind Lucas Di Grassi just now, save a little bit of energy, get a nice slipstream, and then pounce later on, that may be his plan.
Across the line they come, 42 minutes plus 1 lap to go. Attack mode activation zone is now open. When they start using it, we'll go through what that is and what the rules are for this race. and it is 42 minutes plus 1 lap remaining. Van Dorn ahead of De Vries by half a second. Then Jake Dennis in third, half a second back. It's 0.8 back to Andre Lotterer in fourth place. Antonio Felix da Costa is out of the E-Prix. So he's out of the race, da Costa, on the opening lap after contact somewhere in there. Flashing down the hill into turn 11.
This is this point of the race where everybody starts to settle in, see what they've got, get the tyres warm, see what the competition's like. And then second half they'll plan their attack to go forwards. You start to feel like the balance of the car. How's the car looking? How's the car feeling? Is the back sliding? Is the front sliding? With experience these drivers have got, they know what they need to feel at this stage of the race for it to be good at the end when it really counts.
And there's the attack, and Di Grassi's gone for it on Bird, and he's got him. Lucas Di Grassi has got him into 5th position in the Black Venturi, ahead of Sam Bird's Jaguar. So Di Grassi is making progress. There's a Mercedes powertrain in the back of that Venturi, so the same as what's in the back of the two race leaders. So we'll see whether Di Grassi can start to close the gap now. Bird is having to defend a little from Max Günther, who's right behind him, but it is Van Dorn and De Vries, the two Mercedes, who are leading the way. That's Nick Cassidy. He was in 8th place, and he's now caught the back of Günther. He was quicker than Günther in the qualifyings, but made that mistake at the start, him and Robin Freitz, and they've dropped back down the field. Mercedes 1-2, Dennis 3rd, and they're now really starting to gap Lotterer, who's a little bit alone in that 4th position. But the lead Mercedes there is Stoffel Van Dorn. The second in the queue is Nick De Vries, and then you've got the red and white Andretti of Jake Dennis just lurking behind them.
I've got to say that Lucas Di Grassi is really pulling away. Actually, right at that point, Sam Bird's got him back up. But in that first part of the lap, Lucas Di Grassi was able to gap the Jaguar of Sam Bird.
I'm happy so far. Foxtrot India 08 Papa.
Stoffel Van Dorn saying he's happy so far, and then reading out some code from his car to let the team know how much energy he has remaining as they come down in towards the final corner at 21. And it's going to be interesting. Early on, I'm sure the Mercedes are happy to sort of work with each other and try and keep that man's car, the Andretti, behind. But when you get towards the end of the race, I mean, how early in the season do you have to try and assert your authority within a team?
I think today would be a good point to do that. I mean, really, you've got to do that. And at what point in the race, if there are, or not team orders just now, but if they're holding station, at what point does battle commence? Because both these guys they're here to win the World Championship. Stoffel Van Dorn felt he was really good last year, had terrible luck, and we really mean luck, not to get the results that he could have challenged his teammate Nick De Vries for the championship. So I think battle will commence towards the end of this race. But you watch the different attitudes. You see Antonio Felix da Costa getting out of the car, not happy.
Suspension, said someone in the garage. It certainly looked that way, didn't it, when he pulled into the pit lane. Up the hill they come again. Van Dorn ahead of De Vries, and then the lock-up from Dennis. Gets it stopped, that puff of white smoke as the right front wheel stops turning. And Andre Lotterer has activated his attack mode then. So from 4th place, Lotterer has activated his attack mode. That'll give him an extra 30 kilowatts of power for the next 3 minutes.
He's got to use that, because that's going to take energy out of the battery as well. You don't just get it for free, it's going to take energy. So he's got to use that to close the gap on the cars ahead of him and get up behind Jake Dennis, because that's the strategy of it. And we saw it last year. Attack mode became it really became a big strategy point in the races. I mean, this is onboard Stoffel Van Dorn, our leader, looking back on his Mercedes EQ teammate Nick De Vries, and Jake Dennis is right there.
2 attack mode usages in this race, both 3 minutes long.
And attack mode this lap, attack mode this lap.
And that is the message to Nick De Vries, telling him to take attack mode then. They're trying to defend, I guess, from the sort of almost undercut from Lotterer. Now that Lotterer's got clear air and can go a bit quicker, they're worried that when De Vries takes attack mode, he might come out behind Andre Lotterer. Here he goes, he'll keep to the right-hand side. Dennis follows him through as well, and they both stay ahead of Andre Lotterer for the time being. So Van Dorn out in front, De Vries 2nd, Dennis 3rd, Lotterer 4th, but you can see De Vries, Dennis and Lotterer are in attack mode. Van Dorn sets the fastest lap of the race. 37 minutes plus 1 lap to go.
If you're Stoffel Van Dorn, you've got to push like crazy just now, and I would say try and take the attack mode this next lap, because you don't want your teammate Nick De Vries and Jake Dennis behind you to gain an advantage on. You've got to go this lap so they don't get ahead of you in the running order.
There you can see the attack mode rules. 30 kilowatts of extra power for 3 minutes in this race.
And this year the cars have a race power of 220 kilowatts, with a 10% increase on last year. So that puts a lot more pressure on the brakes and the tyres.
And push to attack mode this lap, push to attack mode this lap.
Van Dorn now being told by Stephen Lane, his race engineer, that he is going to take attack mode this lap. And he should, you would have thought, come out in front of those chasing him. Here he comes into the right-hander now, swings over to the right-hand side, activates attack mode, and emerges, I think, still in the lead. Yes, so Van Dorn still ahead, De Vries second, Dennis third, Lotterer fourth. But Lotterer has joined the pack a little more, hasn't he?
Yeah, and Lotterer has definitely joined the battle here, Jack. That was a big moment in the race for Stoffel Van Dorn to stay ahead of his teammate Nick De Vries. There's 3 sensors in the attack mode activation zone. You've got to cross all 3. You miss one of them, it's you've got to go and do it again. You cost yourself all that time going offline.
Oliver Rowland is in attack mode. He's trying to get ahead of Robin Freitz. They're in 9th and 10th positions. There they come down the hill. The green Envision is just ahead, and Rowland is just about to run out of attack mode. You can see him counting down the last 5 seconds of this, and now he's not going to be able to get ahead of Robin Freitz just using the extra power. There's the race leader, Stoffel Van Dorn. De Vries second, Dennis third, 4th is Lotterer, 5th is Degrassi, 6th is Bird, 7th is Gunter, and we're back with our leaders as they climb the hill once more.
And we had a yellow turn 18, but the yellow has gone in, so battle can commence into this bumpy braking zone of turn 18, but the cars are probably too far apart this lap for anything to happen. You can see Nick De Vries closing up on his teammate under braking.
Rowland did get past Robin Freitz, so he's now up into 9th position. The Mahindra, who was so quick in qualifying, although now Rowland is dropping down the order and it's all kicking off coming into the chicane here, and Eduardo Mortara is suddenly ahead of Robin Freitz, and Sims is at the back of this pack, and we might have lost Oliver Rowland from this fight. The other Mahindra appears to have gone missing. Big slide from Freitz. He's now getting overtaken by Jean-Eric Verne, and that's Mortara around the outside, attempts to go Pascal Wehrlein. Mortara in the black Venturi. Mortara was trying to defend. Verne is now up into 12th position, and De Vries is out of his attack mode. Dennis is out of his attack mode as well. The yellow flag is at the final corner, so I think Rowland has stopped on the exit of the final corner.
16 and 17, so the corner before the straight jack. Yes.
Yeah.
So 16 and 17, yeah. And that's an easy place to make a mistake. Safety car, so it must be a lot of debris.
Safety car deployed. The first safety car of the season. And coming through the final corner onto the main straight. And now it's not terrible news for Stoffel Van Dorn, because he didn't have a huge advantage anyway. Here's what happened then with Rowland. Oh, he and Robin Freitz side by side into 15, all out of shape, and then Rowland's obviously trying to get it stopped on the dirty stuff, and there he is, backwards in the barrier on the exit of 16.
He already had some damage to the front of the car, so had they had an earlier argument, shall we say, but yeah, very, very dusty offline, and in that area. You can see the dirty part of the track, very low grip in that section.
There is Stoffel Van Dorn, race leader. Second is Nick De Vries. In the other Mercedes EQ, Oliver Rowland has said on the radio that he is okay, but you have to wait in the car until you're given clearance to get out of the car at the moment. So Van Dorn in the wall, De Vries is second, Dennis is third, Lotterer is fourth. That's Lucas Degrassi in 5th place in the Rocket Venturi. He's just ahead of the Jaguar of Sam Bird, and there's the new Porsche Taycan Turbo S safety car, the most powerful safety car in motorsport. Absolute beast, and all the colours on it are the colours of each individual team in the championship. So you'll see the gold colour for Cheetah, you'll see the black for Venturi, you'll see the blues for the Jaguars, all over the side of that Porsche.
Is that phosphor blue?
Yeah, exactly, phosphor blue. Bruno Carrera at the wheel of that safety car, with Van Dorn leading the way. Now this is where we get into a new addition to this year, because there will be added time now at the end of this race. For every 1 minute of the race spent behind the safety car, 45 seconds is going to be added to the race clock. So when we have 4 minutes plus 1 lap to go on the left-hand side, it'll be announced how much added time we will have in the race. So even though we're behind the safety car here and we're sort of losing out on some race time, we will get it back at the end of the race. Di Grassi's made up 3 places on the left-hand side. Mortara has made up 3. Sims has made up 5. As Roland's car gets cleared, it was all, and there's Scott Elkins, the race director, in the middle, getting that car cleared. Shouldn't be too long, I don't think, before the safety car comes in, because it looks as though they're doing a good job of clearing it away. As Van Dorn leads then, car number 5. 17 is De Vries, 27 is Dennis, 36 is Lotterer in 4th. The black 11 is Lucas Di Grassi in 5th. And this is a look back at the start. And just watch the red and white car. Oh, he was quite slow on the reaction there, Jake Dennis.
Yeah, he really was. We're going to be focusing on the front of the field, but the main incident happened a little bit further back. Look at the 2 green and blue Envision cars to the outside. It really cost them. That's what the time was. You see.
Yeah, that was Da Costa was right at the back. Da Costa was right at the back with your Giovinazzis and your Tictums of this world. So he obviously didn't get a good getaway. It looked as though Cassidy went in deep into 1, and that forced his teammate Freins off the road as well.
Yeah, at one point they looked about 5 wide into the first corner, so there's potential that there was a
look at the 2 green cars there, sort of taking each other off, and then look right at the back. Yeah, oh, it was 4 wide. Who was that? I think it was Tictum trying to get up the inside of 3 other cars.
Yeah,
into
Costa,
the first corner.
It won't turn. Yeah, it damaged the suspension. It looks like he got squeezed at just 4 cars trying to go into 1 corner.
Here's De Vries. Look how much quicker he was on the reaction than Dennis. Dennis also got quite a lot of wheel spin, but that was straightforward in the end for Nick De Vries. That move into 2nd place.
It's a great feeling when you've just passed. You look in the mirror and you're heading off, and you've got up behind your teammate there. It's also a great feeling if you're Stoffel Van Dorn and you lead the race into the first corner. At this point the tyres are cold, cars sliding around because it's incredibly cold here in the desert at night.
And there's a maximum of 10 minutes time to be added as well, I should point out, with that safety car rule I was talking about earlier on. But to have 10 minutes added, you'd need 14 minutes behind the safety car or full course yellow, so hopefully we won't be anywhere near that. Oliver Rowland's car is just about to be hoisted clear, isn't it, at that turn 17. In fact, it is up in the air now on the back of that tractor. So frustrating day this for Rowland. He was quickest in free practice yesterday, quickest in free practice this morning. Had a big lockup after making it through to the knockout stages of qualifying, to the duels, and that cost him. So here's a look at what happened with Rowland and Freins. We're on board with Freins here.
Oh, that was contact.
Oh, so there was a hit into 14.
Yeah. Okay, at this point, look at the suspension damage, I think, to Freins, and then, yeah, they're just not playing nicely anymore. Wait for the hit. There you go.
Oh, so there's contact there in the middle of the corner.
Yeah, so there was payback. It looks like Oliver Rowland possibly hit Robin Freins into 14, and so Robin returned the favour into 15, but it was a bit more effective.
Yeah.
If you're going to do it, you might as well make it count.
You can see the onboard camera dangling out the front there. That's ours, Robin.
What do you think our budget is on onboard cameras?
Robin should be paying for that one.
We do damage.
Apparently, onboard cameras cost more a weekend than you do.
Yeah, but I do this for the love of the sport.
The onboard cameras don't do it for the love of the sport, do they? Not with the battering they get. 28 minutes plus 1 lap to go, and and Stoffel Van Dorn is leading the way. There is Freins all the way down in 14th place now. And there is Roger Griffiths, team principal of Andretti. Now, the safety car will be coming in this lap. So safety car in this lap, and then the racing will get back underway.
Okay, remember, it's going to be cold brakes for the start of the lap. Cold front brakes.
Cold front brakes.
What you would normally do, you get the brakes warm and you get the tyres warm, but you can't do that because you would use extra energy, which you need to race as quickly as you can. You can see Bruno Correa trying to get a gap now to Stoffel Van Dorn. Stoffel looking in the mirrors, gently trying to warm up the inside of the tyres. But again, the best way to do that is using the brakes. Safety car, you're going to see them take off probably out of turn 19, which is in 2 corners time.
They're not very backed up, are they, at the moment? Safety car comes in, and Van Dorn gets going again, and there's a big gap from Dennis backwards. So I'm not quite sure whether the rest of the field were not quite ready for it or something, or
dreadful.
Once they've floored it again, they're all very spread out. Van Doorn leading the way, De Vries in second there, the reigning champion. Jake Dennis is in third place. Fourth is Lotterer. Then fifth is De Grassi, Bird, Cassidy, Gunther, Mortara, Verline, the rest of the top 10.
The rest of them sleeping. What happened? Was somebody slow? I mean, the bits we saw, really, even sort of fourth, fifth back, they were miles back. There's a second between Lotterer and De Grassi.
So the two Mercedes EQ drivers leading the way. The issue I think they have is they try and go as slowly as possible under safety car to save energy.
Yeah.
And then if it's a late safety car call and everyone just goes flat out, they can't actually catch back up. There's Jake Dennis in third place at the moment in the white and red Andretti, coming under a little bit of pressure now from Andre Lotterer. More pressure behind than he's putting on the Mercedes in front right now.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, Jack, and you're absolutely right, but it's a lot easier as the Porsche of Andre Lotterer goes to attack mode. It's a lot easier to pass on or to get close and stay close under safety car than it is under racing speed, and they're bizarre.
De Grassi and Bird activate their attack modes as well. 26 minutes plus 1 lap to go. They're their second attack modes, in that they will get the extra 30 kilowatts of power for 3 minutes. And there's the gap back to Nick Cassidy, who's recovering fairly well, running in 7th place ahead of Gunther, then Verline. That's Eduardo Mortara.
So let's close the gap to car in front. Let's spot them.
Seems a fair plan.
Fabrice Roussel saying let's close the gap to the car in front. That's Lotterer in 4th. Being told to close in on Jake Dennis in 3rd position. Hear the tyres squealing as they make their way down the hill. And this is the battle for 10th and 11th places. Eduardo Mortara ahead of Mitch Evans. The final points paying position, 1 point for 10th position. Mortara is in attack mode, Evans is not as it stands.
Okay, Lotterer is on the cusp, push for attack.
So Dennis being told Lotterer could get you this time when we go through attack mode, so push and then take it. De Vries takes attack mode, and that means, Van Doorn takes attack mode, so De Vries hits the front. Did he take attack mode?
Did he get it, or did he miss it? I think he missed it.
Has Van Doorn just missed attack mode from the lead of the race? Well, we'll have a look back at that in a few moments' time, but this battle is ongoing for 8th position. Less than 25 minutes plus 1 lap to go. There's Nick De Vries. He's in the lead. Van Doorn in second is not in attack mode. So whether they intentionally swapped places or Van Doorn tried to activate attack mode and failed.
He's missed attack mode. That's huge. It's so important. It's so difficult to get those 3 sensors on the track, to go over them with the centre of the car to get attack mode. And that is a massive problem for Stoffel Van Doorn.
And Lotterer has got ahead of Dennis. Andre Lotterer is up into 3rd place in the Porsche. They said it was going to be close, and it turned out it was, and there was Van Doorn not going all the way through the attack mode activation zone, and that's Lotterer in the Porsche getting ahead of Dennis.
Now, the sensors aren't in that red line, but they're in that area, and it's just, he's just gone too wide in that first part and not crossed the sensors.
And look at that, that's Lotterer getting 3rd place away from Jake Dennis, but Dennis is going to be right behind him. Lotterer is has the halo flashing. The clock isn't running down on Lotterer though, but I think he is in attack mode. Both Mercedes have taken attack mode now, so they've both taken their second attack mode. De Vries is now ahead of Van Doorn, and Lotterer is in 3rd position. But can Dennis get back ahead of Andre Lotterer is going to be the question, or can Lotterer hold on?
Dennis's car, the body language of it, the balance looks good. He looks a little bit better than down through this section than the Porsche of Andre Lotterer. So he'll be setting up for that pass if he can, coming out of turn 18. So this whole part of this lap, you're just getting as close as you can, and especially coming out of this through 15 now. There's 16 and 17, double right-hander coming up. Get as close as you can to get the acceleration onto the straight leading to the braking zone of turn 18.
And Lotterer is out of attack mode now, and this is the chance for Jake Dennis to get back into 3rd place. Lotterer covers the inside. Dennis tries to send in the dummy, and Lotterer covers the inside, sends it to the outside now, and Lotterer puts him in the wall again. Lotterer and Dennis collide.
What was Jake could have? Yeah, there was other options there. I mean, easy to say sitting in the comms booth, but there's other options for Jake Dennis than doing what he did.
He's got 27 seconds left of attack mode.
He moved twice in the braking, man. He can't do that. 306.
Dennis frustrated. He thought he'd got the dummy, then Lotterer covered him off, and then he went to the outside and Lotterer pushed him into the barriers. Down the hill they go.
With the speed difference, he could have sailed round the outside. He tried to go on the inside and then lifted. Here we go, yeah.
He's moved one way, he's moved the other. Well, he wasn't actually in the barrier. He did just about leave a car's way.
Yeah, he did. He left a bit. At this point, I wonder why Jake didn't just go to the outside.
Yeah.
Again, easy to say, but he's making reaction. He's got to make reactions to the car in front. But Andre Lotterer, yeah, he left in the space, but there was contact made. Both are out of attack mode now.
These are the drivers that receive the fan boost vote. De Vries, Van Dorn, Evans and Giovinazzi will all get an extra power boost to use in the second half of the race. So they're first and second, De Vries and Van Dorn, and now they are popular with the fans as well, and that's going to help them out. De Grassi activates his second attack mode, so he drops behind Sam Bird. That's interesting. So Bird back ahead of De Grassi and up into 5th place. Now De Grassi got ahead of Bird earlier on in this race with a good overtake. If he wants to finish ahead of the British driver, he's going to have to do that again.
Yeah, you've got to say the Jaguar didn't look well balanced at the start of the race. Sam Bird was struggling, but maybe in order for the car to be good at the end, certainly good through the middle at this point, they had to sacrifice some of the pace early, and the Jaguar definitely looks like it's working better now as Sam Bird heads down the hill chasing Jake Dennis.
20 minutes plus 1 lap to go. De Vries leading. That is Sam Bird in 5th position now. There's Lotterer and Dennis right together. Then it's Bird, who's he's got another minute of attack mode, so he might be able to join the fight for 3rd place, Sam Bird. We're only just past the halfway mark. We've still got added time to come later on. So a long way to run yet in this E-Prix, but the Mercedes are now 3 seconds clear of Andre Lotterer.
Yeah, that seemingly came out of nowhere, didn't it? That's the Mercedes guys, everybody's trying to save as much energy as possible, and the way they're doing that is they're carrying more minimum speed through the corner, braking, getting off the brakes.
Guys in front done 2.
Yeah, they are done.
So Bird asking if everyone has done 2 attack modes, and he has.
Yeah,
and they all have.
In this situation, Jack, coming off the brakes, running the speed through the corner, so trying to gain speed when you're off the throttle and not on the throttle, using as little energy as possible. And there's no better place down this hill, trying to maximise the momentum you can carry to save that energy so you can stay on the throttle longer on the straights. That's part of the balancing act of Formula E.
So with 4 minutes to go, the amount of added time will be announced. The teams can sort of add it up as they go and get a pretty decent estimate, you'd have thought. But until the clock comes up, we'll wait and see. Right, so 3rd, 4th and 5th here. Lotterer in 3rd. 4th is Jake Dennis. 5th is Sam Bird. Lucas de Grassi is joining the fight as well. There is Bird in the Jaguar TCS Racing entry. Coming into the chicane now, the right-left at 18 and 19. And then out towards turn 21. De Grassi has 30 seconds of attack mode remaining, so he's joining this fight. And you get the feeling that Lotterer is not holding everyone back as such, but since Lotterer and Dennis fought...
Yeah, be patient, you're doing a really good job. Lotterer and Dennis are doing high 110.
So that's de Grassi being told to be patient. You're doing a really good job.
I think Lucas de Grassi is very good at that. This is just the camera right by the right front of Sam Bird's Jaguar. Look how close he's getting to the walls as he hunts down Jake Dennis ahead of him in the Andretti car.
And this is de Grassi chasing down Bird again. We saw this in the first half of the race. Got ahead then. He's dropped behind during the attack modes, and now he's got to try and do it all again. Lucas de Grassi.
Andre Lotterer seems to be struggling. He's sort of the cork in the bottle, isn't he, at this point?
But no one's quite close enough to really make a difference to attack him. In fact, on that last lap, he was 2/10 quicker than Jake Dennis. Less than 18 minutes to go.
It's also important to be quick at the right point of the track. There's no point being quick down the hill through 5 to 14 if you're not quick up the straight into turn 18 and the place to overtake. That's so important to be quick at that one point of the track.
17 minutes plus 1 lap to go. This is the opening round of the ABB FIA Formula E World Championship in Diriyah, and it is a Mercedes EQ 1-2 at the moment, with De Vries ahead of Van Dorn. Lotterer is 3rd, Dennis is 4th, Bird is 5th, De Grassi is in 6th position. That is Lucas De Grassi at the back of the pack here. Joined the Venturi team this season. And he is going to be desperate to get ahead of Sam Bird and move up into 5th position. And how far up, because he can see 3rd place up ahead of him, can Lucas De Grassi. That's the tantalising prospect for the Brazilian at the moment. But in the lead of the race, it is now Nick de Vries in the Mercedes EQ. Second behind him is Stoffel van Dorn. Those are the 2 leaders coming through there. 3rd is Andre Lotterer. 4th is Dennis. 5th is Bird. 6th is De Grassi. Bit of a gap back to Nick Cassidy in the green Envision car. Then more of a gap back to Pascal Wehrlein in the white and black Porsche. Then it's Mortara in 9th. Gunter is 10th. Evans is 11th. Vern, Sims, Freitz, that's Oliver Askew. That is Sergio Sede Camera in the number 7 Dragon car. But that'll be so frustrating for Stoffel van Dorn if he's lost the lead and lost the win because he missed attack mode activation. That's the situation he's in at the moment. Yeah, but here we've got usable energy, by the way, on the left-hand side, and you can see actually Lotterer and Dennis are quite different. Lotterer has got quite a bit less energy than Jake Dennis, so that'll reap rewards for Dennis in theory in the second half of this race.
And that's probably where we're seeing the gap going between Van Dorn and Lotterer, because Andre Lotterer is just trying to save some energy. But yeah, Jack, the attack mode activation zone, it's like every other part of the track, you've got to be inch perfect. Yeah. And if you're not, it's not a wall, but you've got to be inch perfect on those sensors to get it. And it's a really tough lesson if that's the case for Stoffel van Dorn. Sometimes we've seen cars not arm. The drivers have pressed the button, but the car, you've got to arm attack mode, and sometimes it doesn't work. Maybe that's the case.
15 minutes plus 1 lap to go. The battle for 3rd and 4th still on. If anything, Bird is dropping back into the clutches of Lucas De Grassi a little bit. 3rd place is Andre Lotterer. He was on the podium in the first, in Porsche's first race in Diriyah. A very successful performance. Finished 2nd. Porsche's first race, but since then it hasn't been quite as strong. Now this is but he's got Jake Dennis right behind him now in the Andretti, coming down the hill.
And Jake Dennis isn't going to try and pass here, I don't think, but again he's setting up to get as close as possible to make a move on Andre Lotterer. He's got to know that Lotterer's in a bit of trouble with energy. The team will have told him, they see the same screen that we do. And just watch, it gets back to the throttle.
This is going to be the opportunity after the next corner.
Yeah, again, the body language of the car, Jake Dennis is in full control here.
Mode 3 to improve efficiency, mode 3.
Here comes Dennis on the power now. He's right in the slipstream of Andre Lotterer coming up towards the chicane. Lotterer covers the inside. Dennis thinks about the dummy this time. He's a bit too far back. He forces his way through. Goes wide and off the circuit. Lotterer holds the place.
Yeah, just a bit over-ambitious on the brakes. But he knows he's got the pace, but now he's got to close that gap, and again that costs energy. I see him defending from Sam Bird behind. Watch for Bird making a move into turn 1.
Bird has tried moves into turn 1 before that haven't worked out after an accident with Alex Lynn a few years ago. He can't get through this time. That's the danger you make when Dennis goes for that move. Suddenly he's over a second back from Lotterer. He's probably used a bit of energy, and he's trying to fight off Sam Bird.
And he's now got to use more energy to close that gap. You know, energy is such a big part of Formula E the whole time, because the cars do not start the race with enough energy to finish the race. They've got to regenerate something over 35% of energy back into the battery to actually make it to the end of the race. So the drivers are not only just trying to get out there and race each other wheel to wheel, but they've got the car telling them when to save energy, the engineers telling them what to do, and they're thinking, I just want to go racing.
We're on board here with Lucas De Grassi running in 6th. Bird ahead is in 5th. Dennis ahead is in 4th. They've still all got 2% more usable energy than Andre Lotterer, so that's going to be tough for Lotterer to hold on to this 3rd place, I think. But still, energy in the hand is worth 2 in a bush, or whatever.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm trying to say is, it's all very well having the energy, but Lotterer's ahead at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Track position is key, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, there was a bush involved, and yeah. Here's Jake Dennis again.
So he tried the dummy. He loves the dummy, because I think he wants to get to the inside of Lotterer.
Which he did perfectly this time. But he did a good move, look, and he watched for Lotterer to move, boom. But he just brakes fractionally too late on the dirty part of the circuit. He just doesn't quite get the car stopped. The car just didn't stop well enough on the dust. Look at the dust getting kicked up. And good defending by Andre Lotterer. Jake Dennis again got to use that energy to close the gap to have another go at Andre Lotterer. I mean, that's for the final podium position.
That's Nick de Vries, the race leader for Mercedes EQ. It's a 1-2 at the moment, but here comes Dennis again, climbing the hill. What's he going to do this time? Is Lotterer going to be wise to the dummy? Covers the middle.
Look at Lotterer's head moving around as he looks in the mirrors, double checking the mirrors. He turns in for that last time, but if you're Jake Dennis, do you do a low percentage pass? Do you try and make a move into turn 21 that's coming up? No, he's just backed off again. He wants to. I think he wants the clean move in turn 18. Jake Dennis in the orange number 27 Andretti car.
Well, the thing is, Lotterer, as we've already seen, is robust. We've seen that many times over the years. So I don't think, I wouldn't have thought trying to like catch him by surprise is a wise idea, because he won't.
He'll just turn in.
Yeah,
but I think Andre's also learned that hasn't served him too well in the last couple of years, because he's been on the wrong end of it too many times. But he won't give, he certainly won't roll over. But I don't like that word robust, because I think it's been hijacked by politicians recently. Anyway, here comes Jake Dennis on Andre Lotterer again.
Tangent, isn't it?
Yeah, but he's still got 2% more, like you say, Jack.
Okay, mate, keep it up. We've got 1% more than Lotterer, still 1% more.
So Dennis has been told he's got more energy than Andre Lotterer. Here they come, up the hill again. Lotterer covers the inside again. Dennis doesn't sit in the slipstream and just holds his position. He's trying to show a bit of patience now, Dennis.
I wonder if he thinks, okay, the Mercedes EQ cars are too far ahead. I'm fighting for third place. But what he's going to watch is the guy in the blue and black Jaguar third on our screen. Because Sam Bird, if he gets the slightest of gaps, he is going to go for an overtaking manoeuvre, as is Lucas Di Grassi in the black Venturi number 11.
Yeah, great battle here for third, fourth and fifth, isn't it? A real patient waiting game at the moment. Vern's got ahead of Evans and is up into 10th place now, into the final points paying position. Down the hill they come. Big slide for Nick Cassidy, who's sort of in a race of his own in 7th place. But look how close Dennis is, and Bird and Di Grassi are very much joining this party now.
If I'm looking in a mirror at this point, Jack, I want to go. I'm thinking, if I'm Jake Dennis, I'm looking there, I see Sam Bird, I think, I've got to go. This is the lap. I've got to make the move, because otherwise Sam Bird is going to make the move on me, and then I'm going to get shuffled back, and then Lucas Di Grassi is going to make the move too. So this is him setting it up now into turn 17. Back to the throttle as early as he can. Got a good run out of there. He's got to make this pass count this lap.
Here comes Dennis up towards the chicane again. Third is Lotterer. Fries has been given a drive-through penalty. The dummy again from Dennis. He's a long way back. Lotterer turns in. They're wheel to wheel. Dennis makes the move. Lotterer tries to force it. Bird is in there as well. Dennis is into third. Bird going for it at the final corner. All of a sudden Cassidy in the green and Vision has joined the party as well. Down into turn 1 now. Watch Bird. Doesn't do anything.
I think I've got a puncture.
Ah, no.
Keep going, keep going.
Jake Dennis saying he's got a puncture. Jake Dennis, in making that move on Andre Lotterer, thinks he's picked up a puncture. There he is, in third place. Where is it?
Well,
Right
he hit
rear?
with the left side. He's hit with the left side, so why would it be the right rear?
And he's still pulling away okay.
Unless it's a faulty sensor, that's all you can hope for. I'm sure he'll feel it in the car that the steering will start going to one side, but yeah, he's pulling away.
So Dennis is...
I'd love to see an onboard to see if we can see the steering wheel, to see if it's starting to go to one side.
But here comes Bird now. It's his turn to try and attack Andre Lotterer. Lotterer is going to be driving very defensively now as they climb the hill. Moves over to the inside again. Doesn't want to get caught with a dummy the second time. Bird thinks about it. Isn't close enough. Di Grassi in the black Venturi is right in the fight as well. And Nick Cassidy's just biding his time at the back of this queue. The New Zealander watching events unfold in front of him. Into turn 21 again. 8 minutes plus 1 lap to go.
But the guys in second and third in this picture. Number 10, Sam Bird. Number 11, Lucas Di Grassi.
Consuming like crazy, something's wrong.
The two most experienced drivers in Formula E, probably the best race drivers, you would say. Certainly, arguably.
So Dennis is saying something.
Oh, Bird's
Bird!
made a mistake.
Bird's gone wide. He might even have hit the wall, and now Di Grassi's got an opportunity to try and get ahead of him. That's Nick Cassidy's view on the tower on the left-hand side. He's third in this current queue. Now that they've dropped back a little from Andre Lotterer, error from Sam Bird.
And he's got to clean the tyres up, Jack, because there's going to be dust
couple of corners before the main overtaking point, which is up the hill into turn 18, because Lotterer here has to fight them off, but he's also got to brake a little bit earlier, come off the throttle a little bit earlier to save energy. What is going to happen at the chicane this time around? He covers the inside, Bird is behind, Bird sends it, Bird gets through. Cassidy tried to go to the outside of Degrassi and it didn't work out. Bird is up into 4th place. Can Degrassi and the Black Venturi get ahead of Lotterer? Not this time as they come into the final corner, out across the line. 4 minutes 15 plus 1 lap to go. We're going to get the added time announcement in a moment. Degrassi goes for it into 1. Beautiful move from the Brazilian.
That's how it's done at turn 1. That was a phenomenal move. I thought that's not coming off at all. But Degrassi could see Sam Bird ahead starting to drive away from him, and he knew he had to make a move quickly if he wanted to chase Sam Bird down.
And this is now Cassidy, who we're on board with, in 7th position. He's the next man to try and get ahead of Lotterer.
And Lotterer's in that spiral, isn't he? He's overusing energy because the car's maybe not handling as well as he'd like, so he's got to use more energy.
Added time is 5 minutes and 15 seconds. So because of that safety car intervention earlier on, the race is extended by another 5 minutes and 15 seconds. So we've now got 9 minutes plus 1 lap to go. So when Lotterer, this is the thing, Lotterer thinks he's getting to the closing stages, holding on in these positions, but then suddenly they add some more time. Here comes Cassidy to the outside of Lotterer. You can see he's got 2% more energy than the German in front of him. And that's the battle over 6th place. And De Vries, Van Dorn, Dennis, the top 3.
And Lotterer has made up some of that energy. Here comes Nick Cassidy, though, to the inside, turn 21. Nice clean pass. I think Lotterer's he's got to make energy targets right now. But he looks in his mirror and he sees these cars queuing up. Edo Mortara behind him in the black Rocket Venturi. A day that promised so much for Andre Lotterer. It's just unravelling. And at this point you're thinking, is he actually going to score points?
Yeah, and that's why I think it's gone from trying to hold on for a podium and doing all you can to hold on for a podium to damage limitation now. Van Dorn there in 2nd place on that last lap, was 2/10 quicker than Nick De Vries. You can see over the last 3 laps Van Dorn has been quicker on every lap than his teammate up at the front, De Vries, and he's got slightly more energy as well. So what exactly the team orders are going to be for Mercedes EQ, we'll find out in the next 7.5 minutes.
And will the drivers listen to the team orders if there are any? But if you look at Pascal Wehrlein, 13th start to 10th, so it's not the race pace of the Porsche. It looks like they're over-consuming a little bit. Maybe the balance of the car is just not quite right. But this is fascinating. Stoffel Van Dorn catching his teammate Nick De Vries. That lap, it was more equal. 1.2 seconds between them. Oh, Mortara.
And that's Mortara getting Lotterer. And now Lotterer is going to be under pressure from Jean-Eric Verne as well. The two very good friends. Evans is lurking in the Jaguar at the back too. And all of a sudden Lotterer is going to be out of the top 10. That's how important it is to look after your energy, because you have a little less than everyone else. Suddenly you're not going to score any points, having qualified 4th, been running 3rd at one point, and now you might be outside of the top 10 if you're Andre Lotterer.
And that's so much to do with car balance, all those things, Jack. You've got to, how the car uses its energy, how it allows you to float the speed through the corner. And clearly the Porsche is not allowing Lotterer or Wehrlein to do that today. Let's see. Is De Vries pulling away from Stoffel Van Dorn? The answer to that is yes, absolutely. De Vries has just opened up the gap again.
Half a second on this lap so far.
I think he's looked in the mirrors, the engineers probably told him he's coming for you.
At the moment, it will start sneaking up, but we are in control of that with the buffer, so we're looking at it.
So I think he's saying that Van Dorn will start catching up to us, but we're in control of that.
He's saying something was sneaking up. I don't think he's talking about Stoffel Van Dorn. I think he's talking about something in the car, whether a temperature or an energy usage or something. Not sure.
Oliver Askew shout out. He's up into 11th place right now. He's closing in on Andre Lotterer. He is about 3 seconds back, but we know Lotterer is having to save a lot of energy, so Askew might be within a shot of getting a point in his first Formula E race, which would be a very good effort from the American. There's De Vries, the race leader. Van Dorn in 2nd position. Mercedes EQ 1-2 at the moment.
Yeah, that would be a really good performance. Experience counts for so much in Formula E. We're on board now, driver's eye view, Stoffel Van Dorn as he comes out of turn 17. You see we've pixelated the dash so other teams can't see what information they've got on there. You hear him lifting, coasting, regenerating, putting energy now back into the battery. You hear the car sliding. catching his teammate about a tenth this lap, but the gap's still at 1.2 seconds. I mean, it's his mind, everything in his mind, everything he's trained his whole life for is telling him, just close the gap, close the gap. But the car is telling him with different beeps in his ear that he can't overuse energy. Every time he tries, the car will sort of tell him not to do that. So yeah, it almost goes against the racer's instinct, trying to save that energy. And it really is a difficult thing they're trying to do. They're trying to master two different disciplines at once.
So there come De Vries and Van Dorn. Really impressive effort this from the Mercedes EQ team, but it is only the first race of the season. How many times have we seen? Well, we saw De Vries dominate the first race last year, absolutely unopposed. Okay, he then won the championship, but hardly unopposed.
Fan boost exit of turn 16 now, so use fan boost.
Stephen Lane telling Stoffel Van Dorn to use his fan boost, and both of them are at the same time. So De Vries and Van Dorn both using their fan boost up at the front. There's Mitch Evans in car number 9. He is chasing down the DS Techeetah of Jean-Eric Vergne. They're fighting over 8th position as they come through the final corner. Evans uses his fan boost. Vergne covers the inside. Evans can't quite get alongside, coming into the braking zone. Whoa! Super deep from Vergne.
And Vergne, he's going to do the cutback, but I'm not sure that'll go around the outside yet. Doesn't want to go there because it's so dirty offline. But again, Jean-Eric Vergne defending these two. A real hammer and tongs battle. Let's see if Mitch Evans, no, it doesn't look like he's going to get the move done into turn 1.
9th place Mitch Evans at the moment, trying to get ahead of Jean-Eric Vergne in the DS Techeetah. But the front, the gap is still 1.2 seconds. Dennis is doing well to keep that car going in 3rd place. Now they start the bobsleigh run again. 3 minutes plus 1 lap to go.
I've got to say, great pace by Jake Dennis as well. Yeah, he's got a little bit less energy than those around him though. But with that gap to Sam Bird behind, 6 seconds, he can start backing off a little bit. He's not going to challenge the cars in front, I would say, at that point, but just protect his energy numbers.
Again, Van Dorn taking a few tenths here and there out of Nick De Vries, but the gap is still just 1 second at the moment. And there you've got Bird only just ahead of Lucas Di Grassi, 4th and 5th. So Di Grassi is starting to feel a little racy. You get the impression in the closing stages to try and get that 4th position.
They're the racecraft of these two. Sam Bird in the Jaguar, Lucas Di Grassi in the Venturi. It feels weird saying that, Lucas Di Grassi in the Venturi, but these two, they know every trick in the Formula E book.
I'm sure someone will correct me, but I don't remember too many Di Grassi versus Bird fights. Sort of specifically those two wheel to wheel. They've both done every single Formula E race, so I'm sure it has happened.
In the early days?
Early days, maybe.
Yeah, they're both 8% energy, which is less than them. In fact, most of the field 8%, a bit less than the Mercedes EQ guys in 1st and 2nd.
It's about 2 or 3% a lap of energy that you want to use as a target, but they're all on the same energy. Dennis has got a little less than some of those around him.
Well, we used to say, oh, he's finished with 1%. That was cutting it close. Now they've finished with 0.0 something percent. They're cutting it so close. Lucas Di Grassi not quite close enough to make a move yet. Probably got 2 laps in which to do it. Maybe 3.
Here come the race leaders now across the line.
Yeah, so probably 3 laps.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
So 3 laps to go, with about 6 or 7% of energy is actually going to be a little bit tight one.
Yeah, and Evans is ahead of Jean-Eric Vergne. Evans up to 8th. Oliver Askew up into the points. For the American viewers, great job in the Andretti car.
Yeah, so he's got ahead of Andre Lotterer now. Lotterer's dropped all the way down to 11th and is basically with his teammate Pascal Wehrlein. Wehrlein started in 10th on the grid and is now in 12th place, so he's dropped backwards as well. Not quite as dramatically as Lotterer, but he didn't start quite as high. So I think this is a concerning race really for the Porsche team, because there's not a lot of race pace in that car. Evans down to 5%, you can see on the left-hand side. So is De Vries now and Van Dorn. And as they come into the final couple of corners, before coming across the line to start the penultimate lap of the race.
Gonna have to be some energy regeneration going on here. Oh, Bird and Di Grassi getting close.
Stoffel's been informed.
Mortara.
When you start your next lap.
Mortara has now joined the fight as well. The Mercedes EQs holding position. 2 laps to go. Bird and Di Grassi and Cass all going to get a bit tight with sort of 4 and 5% remaining. They're going to have to be careful. If you're Jake Dennis, you're okay. You've got 6-second margin. But these drivers are going to have to be very, very wary of getting too excited in the final couple of laps. So this is the battle for fourth. Bird, Degrassi, Cassidy, Mortara. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, that's easy to say, not getting excited, but when your pulse is up and the adrenaline's flowing, it's very easy to go, isn't it?
You don't need to tell me how easy it is to get excited. Okay.
I was thinking more from the driver's seat.
No, I know.
You having your caffeinated drink at this point, that's just what you're needing.
Yeah, a bit of caffeine at 9 p.m.
Goody.
Here's De Vries, leading the way and about to start his final lap. Looks like he's going to win the season opener for 2 years in a row, and Mercedes EQ are going to bring home a 1-2. Just one more tour to come as De Vries heads towards turn 21. There is Ian James, the team principal of the Mercedes EQ squad, through the right-hander. Final lap begins now for De Vries and Van Dorn. Dennis is in a very lonely third position.
But it's still strong race pace. They're still running in the 1 minute 9, both Mercedes ahead. This queue, though, this is where it's about to get interesting.
Final lap now. Risk versus reward as well. How hard do you want to try to get fourth place, or are you happy with your fifth? Pick up the points. Mortara at the back of this queue's done a good job to climb through the order. I think he qualified 12th on the grid. As I say that, he's in the wall. I think he manages to keep going, Mortara, and get no damage, but that was a huge moment. Here are the Mercedes EQs, though. Teams champion last year, drivers champions as well for De Vries and Van Dorn will be frustrated. Look at that, they've got 0.5% remaining. This is how close you run it now in Formula E.
And look at it go back up as he regenerate going into the corner, but they're a lot 14 seconds ahead of Sam Bird. Sam Bird's got the same energy, but he's got 14 seconds.
It's going to be tight for Cassidy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Through the final corner comes Nick De Vries. It's a Mercedes 1-2 in the opening race of the season. The reigning champion wins again. Jake Dennis is going to finish in third place across the line, but what's going on with Bird in the fight for fourth? Has he managed to hold off Degrassi? He has, but Mortara has got him. Mortara got Cassidy. Mortara up into sixth place, Cassidy seventh.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Strong comeback after a tough start.
No, let's say from.
Thank you for your. Thank you for.
So delight for Nick De Vries. Mercedes EQ 1-2. Jake Dennis in third position after dropping behind the Mercedes at the start. But it's Nick De Vries, the winner of the first race of the season.
Let's have a word with Nick De Vries.
Try to pick up some rubber if you can.
Nick, it's Dario and TV. Well, your weekend got better.
Hello, mate. Your pre-race pep talk helped. I think you should do this more often. Yes, very happy with the comeback. Strong points, strong start of the season. So, yeah, very happy.
Yeah, well done, well done. Flawless race.
Okay, Nick, so you're going to go.
For those that don't know what we're talking about, Nick De Vries crashed on his second lap of practice yesterday and missed the whole of the first practice session, 50% of the practice, but that was a mighty comeback.
And the pre-race pep talk was about skiing.
Yeah, we were talking about skiing.
So that appears to be what you need to chat about every race as De Vries makes his way back into the pit lane.
Great job by Stoffel Van Dorn. Missed the attack mode, or there was an issue with the attack mode. We don't know if actually didn't arm whatever, but very strong from Mercedes EQ, Jack.
Yeah, absolutely. So they return to the pit lane now. Van Dorn and De Vries. They started first and third. Van Dorn ahead of De Vries in third. They finished first and second. Van Dorn missing that attack mode activation, which really cost him the win. But it's the reigning champion who's first again as they make their way now to the podium. Jake Dennis will be following them. Strong start of the season as well for Jake Dennis. He had that third place fairly easily, really, but you saw the pace and the difficulty of Lotterer. You can't help but wonder if Lotterer wasn't there, is Dennis staying with the Mercedes a little bit more, putting them under a bit more pressure? Qualifying tomorrow is going to be crucial. And the nice thing is, this season, with the new qualifying format, it all starts again from zero tomorrow. Everybody's got an absolutely equal chance of getting to the front.
It's a very good way of putting it, Jack. It's really, yeah, it is. You've got to get your elbows out again tomorrow. Do it all again. Yeah, Jake Dennis, I mean, definitely best of the rest, wasn't he? That was mighty.
So the cars making their way now through towards the podium, where they will emerge. And the Mercedes EQ are 1-2, and Nick de Vries, for the second year in a row, wins the opening race of the ABB FIA Formula E World Championship season. It was his only win last year.
As we both check our notes.
Yes. It was his only win. No, he won the first race in Valencia, didn't he?
Yes,
it was his
he
only pole position. He won 2 races in the first 5 and then no more victories throughout the season. But he's back on top of the championship now.
Look at that podium.
Yeah, phenomenal.
It's bigger than your house, Jack.
Stoffel Van Dorn then in second place. The thing is with these races, when they're double headers, it's about, they're all satisfied today, but they know it's 9 o'clock, what, they'll get into bed about midnight?
Maybe.
Something like that?
Yes.
Bit of kip, we go again tomorrow.
Yeah, their engineers are going to be questioning them for hours now. What's happening here? How do we improve this? And every team up and down the grid is doing that. If you stay still tonight in this race event, you go backwards. Yeah.
So de Vries taking the win, 6 tenths ahead of Van Dorn at the end. Dennis in third, Bird in fourth, De Grassi and Mortara 5th and 6th. So 4 Mercedes powertrains in the top 6 positions. Cassidy 7th, Verne 8th. Askew finished 9th in the end. So he got another place, Oliver Askew. That's a really good effort because he qualified 17th on the grid. Very smart work from Oliver Askew. Giovinazzi finished in 20th. Oliver Rowland not classified after crashing out with Robin Freitz, and Antonio Felix da Costa out of the race on the opening lap. De Vries about to make his way up to the podium. And then we will hear from the top 3 in a couple of moments' time. Picking up where he left off, really, Nick de Vries, the reigning champion, the winner of the opening race of season 8 of the Formula E World Championship.
Huge amount of anticipation coming into this race. Nick de Vries, congratulations. What does it mean to win the first race of season 8?
It's honestly a massive relief. Obviously yesterday I made a mistake compromising ourselves and the team to prepare ourselves best possible for today, and we used our practice time well this morning and did a good qualifying session, and to win today was great for the whole team. To score 1-2, obviously stuff was a bit unfortunate with the attack activation, but nevertheless I'm very pleased for the whole team to score another 1-2.
This is a fantastic start for the team to have a 1-2. I mean, I know you guys were hoping to do well this weekend, but is this beyond your sort of imagination?
Well, obviously this is what we're working for, but it's a super tough championship, and after yesterday I would have definitely signed up for this, so I'm just very pleased, and hopefully we can keep it going.
Brilliant, huge congratulations. Nick de Vries for Mercedes EQ.
So de Vries takes his 3rd victory in the ABB FIA Formula E World Championship. And a superb drive from de Vries. Got a good start up into 2nd place. Van Dorn made the mistake, and that dropped, or promoted, de Vries into P1. Second place man, Stoffel Van Dorn. How frustrated is he going to be? Well, let's find out, shall we? He too is with Nicky Shields.
Stoffel Van Dorn, huge congratulations on your 2nd place finish today. Talk us through, obviously, missing attack mode, because that has had the consequences of missing out on the win today.
Yeah, exactly. A little bit disappointed, but I think it's not bad to be disappointed with the 2nd place today. I was leading the race, pretty much everything under control. I think we had really strong pace in the car today, and then I missed my loop on the 2nd attack activation, which basically just handed the position to Nick, and then we were kind of pushing each other. cruising away from the others, and have a 1-2 finish for the team. So I think for a team result, it's it's been a great day. I can't be disappointed. Qualified on pole in the first new qualifying format, and to finish second today is a good one, and we have another opportunity tomorrow.
Exactly. I mean, does it bring a sense of relief now that you know that you can get the performance off the car throughout the rest of the season?
I mean, you can never have relief in Formula E because the championship and the nature of the championship is so close that the moment you give up a little bit of performance, there's someone else that's going to be there. So it's not a guarantee we won today that we're going to win tomorrow, but we're gonna try and do everything, try and repeat the performance in qualifying, and from my side, try and do a little bit better in the race.
And continue that momentum. Thank you very much. Stoffel van Dorn for Mercedes EQ.
So a second place finish for Stoffel van Dorn. Kept the lead at the start, did Van Dorn. As the two envisioned cars went wide at turn 1, that was the view of De Vries, who got up into that second place. And he was comfortably leading, as he said. And a little fist bump as he came across the line. Let's check in now with Jake Dennis. Third place for the British driver for the Andretti team.
Jake Dennis, absolutely phenomenal race there. I mean, some brilliant attacking on Andre Lotterer. That seemed to take up a lot of your time. But what was the biggest challenge for you today?
Passing Andre. That was the biggest challenge, It was always going to be difficult. We started on the inside, so I sort of had a feeling Nick would pass us off the line, which sort of ended up happening. And, I felt quite comfortable sat behind the Mercedes. I think we were pretty much on the same strategy. Everything was looking quite good. And then, when the top 4 break away, being in third isn't the best because it allows the car behind, have free attack zone. So Andre undercutting us ruined our race a little bit, but I wanted the podium so bad today. We deserve it as a team, and tried it the first time and completely got it wrong. And then the second time I learned from my mistakes and put it right and got the overtake done. And then we pulled cleared and tried to close down the Mercedes, but they were just a little bit too quick at the end. And but we had a great race.
Well, congratulations. It must feel good because I know you were really set on having a podium in your first season as not a rookie anymore.
Oh, it's nice not to be called a rookie for once.
Exactly. Well, congratulations, and we'll see you tomorrow.
That was a great occasion, Dario, Rima. A fantastic race, I think you'll agree.
Yeah, very much so. I thought it was quite exciting and it made for a very interesting front row start for the Mercedes, and they really did show their pace.
Yeah, Dario, I think Mercedes are making a statement in that, last year it wasn't a fluke. We have got what it takes to perform well and get 2 drivers on the podium in Formula E.
Yeah, they really, I think if you're in every other garage that's not Mercedes, just now you're thinking, oh, hang on, they've got a bit of work to do, because that was very, very impressive. Stoffel van Dorn leading the whole way, had that problem with the attack mode, but right there, Nick De Vries, they were just that little bit ahead of everybody else. But that was a phenomenal battle, from Jake Dennis, Sam Bird, Andre Lotterer, Lucas de Grassi. They all got involved in that phenomenal battle, and that was great to watch as well.
It's interesting how we talk about our drivers in that we talk about them using their driving technique and their driving craft. Like Andre Lotterer, that once Andre Lotterer is either in front of you or behind you, you're going to be in for a battle. He's going to defend really well, he's going to attack really well, and he did exactly that until he realised he didn't have enough energy, Rima.
Yeah, exactly. I think initially I thought it was quite positive seeing him defending and keeping, I think it was de Grassi behind him, but I think it just also showed they didn't really have the pace in the race, and eventually put up a good fight and a good show. I enjoyed that, and it was really nice to see as well up to the last lap, the Venturi boys fighting and that train of cars, and up to the finish line.
If you're Sam Bird, Dario, how would you summarise that race? Because he did exactly what we expect Sam Bird to do.
I think Sam got everything out of that race that he actually could. But I think he's going to go back to the Jaguar garage right now and be like, we need to.
Is he a data guy?
Oh yeah. In this series, you've got to be a data person, but he's going to go in there. He's going to be like, look, we need to fix. We need to look. And every single person in that team right now, they're going to be thinking, how do we close that gap? Not by the time we get to Mexico City. How do we close that gap by tomorrow?
Nice. Well, there's lots to talk about. There's a safety car played a pivotal part in this race, and you were extremely confused, Diriyah, with what went on behind it. We'll talk about that a bit later. So there you go, that is the podium. I don't know whether you're hearing Jack Nicholls in whatever, wherever you're watching this, but I'm getting Jack Nicholls commentating on the podium at the moment, but we'll continue our conversation because I think that's where we're at. Diriyah, the safety car, like I said earlier on, played a pivotal part in the race, because once the safety car was released, the drivers weren't bunched. The drivers were spread out all the way down from the top, all the way down to coming into the straight.
Absolutely right, Vernon.
You were gobsmacked.
You know, yeah, the safety car had to come out. The Mahindra was parked and all that was fine. But then, and it seemed that they gave him plenty of notice. But yeah, you talk about the field being spread out. The guys from about fourth back, there needs to be the better communication with their teams. They need to be on it harder, because they might say, "Oh, we're trying to save energy," but yeah, that was not good.
All right, well, Nick de Vries is victorious in the first race here in Diriyah. Let's hear the Dutch national anthem.
نهنئ جميع الفائزين. Congratulations.
So there you go, a great day for Mercedes. The German national anthem because they're the winning constructor, and then we heard the Dutch national anthem for Nick de Vries because he's the winning driver. Rima, they must be such a confident team right now in that garage, and considering we've got a race tomorrow, they're going to have a lot of pomp about them. Chests out, chins up, ready for tomorrow.
Exactly. I think, starting the season off strong and fresh will really serve them well, but they also have to make sure to keep their, like you said, head not too high up, because that could catch them out, and too much confidence is not that good. I've definitely learned from experience.
Yeah, I guess you can get a little bit ahead of yourself. Someone that never did that, Diriyah. Mercedes boys had a great start, didn't they, at the front of the grid?
They really did. Just to continue that point a second, we're talking to Gary Paffett, the new team manager, multiple DTM champion, man knows how to win races, and he said, "Look, we think we've got good cars, we think we know what we're doing, we just don't want to mess it up here." And from the start of the race, they were very, very strong, weren't they? Straight off the line, they got good reaction time, good traction, they controlled the field into turn one, and that really set the stage for the rest of the day.
And also, I guess, prior to the first race, there's a lot of intrigue about what the other teams are capable of doing, because they've had 5 months to go back, reassess, look at all the data, because that's really important in Formula E, and then come back and set yourself up for today. The qualifying session was really, really good, and that race was spectacular. Has it given us a ranking order, Diriyah, as to where we think the teams are going to be relatively for the rest of the season?
And not necessarily for the rest of the season, but it definitely shows everybody's got to catch, I think, Mercedes.
We've got a massive gap after Mexico, haven't we?
Yeah, there's a big gap after Mexico, but you've got to fix it now, because with this new qualifying format, everybody starts every weekend from zero. It's not like, oh, we were bad last week, but we get back up front. You've got to each week. I mean, even for tomorrow, as we hear the fireworks go off, you've got to be on it tomorrow already. Porsche was a big surprise for me in a negative way. I don't think they had race pace.
Yeah, those fireworks are spectacular, by the way.
That's pretty cool.
Absolutely magnificent. And congratulations to the Mercedes boys. They did have a great start, but there was a pivotal moment for Stoffel van Dorn. I'm going to have to start shouting because the fireworks are really going off. Stoffel missed his attack mode activation. We don't know what the problem was just yet, whether he missed it driving into the attack.